That's a good idea. It tires to around.
Here we are at this community meeting to talk about signs and signage, and want to thank everybody that was able to come in person. And I know we have a few people joining us online today. I'd like to first of all recognize that we're meeting on the territory of the Inupiaq people here in the village, in the parish hall, where it's air conditioned. So that is wonderful. So tonight we have a presentation, I believe, by Carolyn to be in a bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm just trying to unblur the screen. Sorry.
Yeah, she's unblurring the screen. So we're here to talk about signs and signage, and I hope they're going to explain a little bit more about it, and why it's important and why we're meeting here tonight. I know we're not making any decisions tonight. It's really to gather information, and where better to get it from but from community members. So Diane, I know you're taking a mouthful there, but would you share a little bit about some of the background?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. No problem. So thanks, Mayor O'Connor, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are taking the opportunity to start this sign project now because we had received back kind of just following the fire some funding from the Ministry of Forests for economic development initiatives. And one of the things that was identified in that was wayfinding and interpretive signage as sort of a way to kind of bring back some animation to the downtown and make it a place where visitors want to visitors and locals alike want to kind of hang out and take things in and be part of the experience. So as we've been kind of trying with a number of fronts, trying to move some of these initiatives forward as we get a little bit further away from the fire date and want to get some of these funds that have been committed to Lytton, we want to get them spent, make sure that they stay in Lytton. So this is one of the areas that we're looking at. And Carolyn, as the mayor said, Carolyn does have a presentation that covers a number of different areas, but we're talking about a number of different signs, not just street signs, but we're talking about wayfinding signs, interpretive signs, commemorative signs. There's a number of different things that we're looking to kind of gather some feedback on. So Carolyn, I'll turn it over to you, and you can kind of start go through the presentation and just give everybody a little bit better sense of what we're looking for. Just trying to see if my head's cut off. It's okay for now. Okay. Welcome. Another great meal. So thanks, Diane and Denise. I'm just going to go to this presentation, and the focus really is on really first steps, like how are signs used, signs 101, and what are your thoughts? And so it's important to have an effective signage program in a community. It provides information and direction for people to find their way around community, obviously. It encourages learning experiences. It creates and maintains an image for a place, provides a sense of place and local pride by incorporating history or cultural values. And I really like this line: when signs are well located and concise, the key is concise, they contribute to creating a comfortable and social place where people can feel informed and connected through a community. I don't know, we've probably all been a place where, whether you're a child and you're just trying to get somewhere and you don't remember your parents told you which way to go, or you're visiting a community, whether, as a tourist, or they're just visiting friends, or whether you're living in the community. And we did have a session today with staff, operations staff and local staff that work at the village. And there's a lot of that, like right now, and go, well, there's the Legion, but obviously we know that's going to change. So we need to look at that. And as Diane said, we have funding to do it too, which is important. So there's a whole bunch of signs. Everybody knows the welcome sign right now, the village center. There's the street signs, the yellow signs, which I understood were a replacement shortly after the fire. There's commemorative signs and monuments such as Chief Spitman Park. And then there's also interpretive signs, which is like out at the Scuppa rest stop, which is a really good series of history signs. And so what I did is I sort of looked through, and here are different signs. Some do multiple languages, some have done just identify street names, and they combine it, like this one has wayfinding on their street sign, obviously a bigger city. I think it must be New York, because I see Central Station. And then welcome signs, which is a really good way to share, and I think there's a lot of pride in it. And you can see that with the current sign, you know, Canada's hotspot, there was a lot of pride in that. And sometimes you tack some other things, but there's also the recognition of the traditional territory, which is really, Port Alberni actually has a new sign, which is just beautiful. It's a small scale, but, and obviously Massac, you get a sense of a community. I have to admit, I think Chilliwack, I'm not quite sure, it's kind of plain, but, so as I said, it's a subtle way to highlight historic, cultural, and an identity of community, including aesthetic appeal, functionality, and inclusivity. The sign is more than just a decorative marker. The entrance sign plays a key role in shaping perceptions and instilling pride and sense of place. I think we all are probably very familiar with the Lillooet sign, rugged. Okay, then wayfinding. Wayfinding can be a lot of things. It's a visual cue. Often you see it, they're just, you know, you see them in the city, it's just an arrow and it points that way. But it can be a bit more too. The signs confirm the, sorry, the correct, oh, thank you. The correct travel route and highlight and locate destinations such as parks, community facilities, and attractions. I think everyone talks about, was it say viewpoint? There's a sign right now that shows where I will, I guess it's really O'Dwyer Park, or Chief Spitland, where you can actually see the meeting of the two rivers. And then wayfinding can be directional, identification, formative, and regulatory. Working in Pemberton for a long time, they use, so regulatory, campfire ban in effect, then they talk about social events and Pemberton alert. So like there's a lot going on there. Then there's directional identification, and this is an older sign from Lytton. And you took this? Yes, and apparently this is Diane's dad.
Actually visited Lytton before the fire.
Yeah.
Number of
Yeah.
years and took the photo, yeah.
I do remember that sign, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good one because it's directional and identification. So it has what's on it. It's got the gas station on it. It's got the resorts, all that. And then directional, the one at the bottom corner is interesting. They simply just painted the pavement. And then directional and obviously the new, which is now down, I think, the identification. So this is village office or this is O'Dwyer Park. And then there's interpretive signs. So they are, wow, the Zoom's is using up all my space. I have to read this. There's designed to engage and educate, explain the significance of a location, its history or natural features, commonly found in parks, nature reserves, historical sites, interpretive centers, and interpretive centers. These signs provide information through text, photographs, illustration, and artwork to help visitors understand and interpret what they see in the surrounding environment, whether it's nature, natural, cultural, or historical. And they're not commemoration. We'll talk about that. But the one that I showed here is there was a big landslide at a creek called Capricorn Creek in Pemberton, and they have this right down in their downtown now, and they sort of explain how it all happened and why it happened. And tourists eat this stuff up, like they really love it. And I understand Chief Spitland Park is going to have some interpretive, and that's again, those will be very well located because that's where visitors go. And then this one was part of the 2010 Olympics, and the Lillooet and Squamish Nations. It's all the history. They're all like culturally significant sites. And then I think anyone that does nature trails, you typically see, they tell you about flora and fauna and etc. And then kept commemoration signs. And this one I quite love right here. And that's the War Memorial for the Tuatha Nation. They just finished it. It's kind of cut off by this. I don't know if I can move these. It's spectacular by a local carver. This is the Campfire Pet and Wildlife Memorial sign in Paradise. And this is another Paradise sign that commemorates their fire as well. So now we get to brainstorm. So we did this with staff, as I mentioned earlier today. And what we kind of want to do is just have a discussion about the 4 types of signs and what your ideas or expectations or what you like, what you don't like about signs. And this is not business signs. We'll come back later on that. You know, when eventually we'll get like the coffee shop and sun catchers. That's not what we're talking about today. We're simply talking about really municipal and visitor and local signs. So let's start with the street signs. So identify street names so that they can be found. That's the purpose. Residents, visitors, delivery services, utilities, really important, emergency services. That's the main reason. So that everyone knows where they are, whether it be self-propelled or vehicle. So you have to recognize it has to be readable when you're in the car. And I'll show you a good example is sandwich boards are not readable if they are for pedestrians, but they have to be huge to be visible for the driver. So they're placed at intersections per engineering standards. So often, do you want to consider historical cultural traits, traditional territory? Obviously, your street signs have had Inca Kapama language. And then if we're doing that, who should we engage? So if we are going to do something and change something with the signs, who should we be talking to? So who wants to start this conversation? What do you guys think of street signs? Right now they're yellow, they're multilingual, or bilingual, I guess. And yeah, just gonna move on.
Right after choo-choo train.
So is that a no to the choo-choo train? Okay.
It's a boost. Yeah, but I wanna say, unless you really know it's a train, or if you come up really close to them, you can't tell that it's a train. We know it's a train.
Yeah.
Are they still keeping the language of the traffic on the language today?
That's what we wanna hear is, yeah, people want that, yeah, that's something that's important, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I thought that was pretty cool when they added it on there, just kind of randomly, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, because I know we walk there's no more daycare in town, so we can't walk kids around with them, we show them that's like, you know, Blue Street or Bay Street or something. Because they would have in the daycare, but now it's a way of town, just that. Yeah, no, I think it was.
Yeah, so just a reminder that we have a microphone right there, and that there are people listening online, I know, so if we talk over each other, so.
Yeah.
But very good point, Sally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something that was up to my attention was that we have a couple of streets that are interrupted. We have 6 and we have 7 that are interrupted. So if you're looking for an address on 7th Street, let's just pretend it was Lytton Elementary School back in the day. Or Parish Hall. If you're on Main Street, you don't know how to get to the Parish Hall on 7th from Main if you never lived here. If you don't know how to get up to 5th Street where Michelle Swan lives, if
You could be at a loss.
there needs to be some kind of directional information on Main to help people find those weird little spots where we've kind of interrupted streets. So I think that was the point that I'm asking. Make clear some test.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Are they closing down 27th Street? I thought I heard they did.
They're only closing the very end, the street end that doesn't go anywhere, like right below the tracks, so we can build a little house on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably people questioning just with the servicing work.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. What about yellow? Oh, sorry, Jason.
Yellow pops out nicely, yellow and black, they're highly visible.
Mhm.
The idea of having the multilingual on signs, came from, they first came out with it and go over they took a good time about. Nice if they're actually on one sign, so it doesn't look so cluttery with four different
Yeah.
signs. Some families, they have English at the top and then they have their language below it, even on the stop sign.
That's right. So right now they're on top of each other, separate signs, yeah.
Yeah, it just looks kind of hokey because
What
they're,
did they do there, sorry, Jason? What did they do in Tecumseh?
well, they got English and then they have language.
Okay, okay, so similar?
On the same
But in
side.
one sign, there's only 2 signs instead of 4.
Oh.
And we talked about that today, because the ops team was saying sometimes they spin around like a
Yeah.
windmill. Because there's so, and then they don't end up in the right place. you know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so that would be good if we look at that.
yeah.
You have one who can take the trees off.
Yeah, yeah.
Take the trains off.
You have one.
We also talked about, today as staff, that the reverse is hard to read. You see how they have the train and a lot of people didn't know they were trains. Is they're reverse, yeah.
They didn't even notice there's trains, so Jason said something.
See?
They're actually done.
So interesting on the current signs, the trains are on the English, but the baskets seem to be on the language.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, any other ideas? Yes,
I
Bruce?
hate to sort of be stick my foot in it, but it seems to me we should be going back a little further. And be thinking about what do we really want to have as Lytton state moving forward. For example, we don't want to have anything to do with Lytton hotspot, or I used to be taking that off, or getting rid of that.
I love them last smart.
That's your,
That
Yeah.
is the
Yes.
absolute worst thing we could have, in my opinion.
Regardless.
And it's especially when we have a fire that did what it did to our community. And moving forward with the hotspot, I think is absolutely the wrong thing to do. You can take, you know what, you can take, that concept and shift it to something like Canada's,
Sorry, Canada's what?
Canada's warmest park. Talk about our communities having a park. Not a hotspot where a town burns up all the time, 2 fires in 5 years. We don't want to go in that direction, we want to go in a different direction. And my suggestion is we consider the alternatives for what Lytton could be known as. And another thing we could maybe focus on for a slogan or whatever, or incorporated in there is something to do with coming back to our community. We don't need to come back into our community. That could be an appeal that we have. How do we entice people back? Or how do we entice businesses?
So I had sorry.
I'm going on a tangent.
No, it's a good tangent.
I kind of paraphrase what I'm hearing from you is you're suggesting that for street signs and maybe other signs, is whatever the community decides as the brand or the theme may be reflected in street signs, is that what you're
Should be
saying?
reflected in each stuff. And it may or may not include both in, our local, the indigenous names and not. I mean, how many people have some of the indigenous names on those signs? you think back, what purpose did you actually have? You look at it realistically. Sure, they're pretty, but you could have them on strategic, couple of strategic corners if you want. Or there's so many different ways to approach it. My point is, I think we need to be a little more creative, a little more forward thinking, where do we want our community to go, and to be thought of from the outside world. And so whether it's enticing businesses to rebuild, whether it's saying, hey, we are a warm community with wonderful people. That kind of thing is, to me, makes way more sense than, like, every time I see cannabis hotspot, I create.
So we did have a good conversation today, and often outsiders who often love that side, but I don't want to get in that debate. Diane raised, do you want to just talk a little bit about branding versus logo? Because Diane comes back from previous things, destination marketing and all that, doing those things, so it's good to have that distinction.
Yeah, thanks, Carolyn, and I just want to let you know, I did get a message that the audio is hard to hear, so if everyone could just speak up a little bit.
Okay.
Some of the folks online can't hear everything, so, and we talked about this today because we haven't done sort of a branding exercise for the village of Lytton from like the true marketing perspective. We've talked a lot about, there's like slogans come up, where rivers meet and hotspot, and those types of things. But a slogan is different than a brand. And so the brand is the part that comes first, which I think is, part of what Bernie's describing when you really kind of try to articulate the essence of your community and what your community means and what it represents. That's a bigger process. And we do have actually funding for that as well, in this Ministry of Forest grant. But we're trying to kind of make some headway on some of the signage part so that as I said, we're trying to sort of spend some of these grant monies that we have and make sure that we meet the requirements from the funders for that. So I don't disagree that having the signage package reflect, kind of the overall community brand. What we were kind of thinking is that maybe there's ways we can produce signage that can be later added to or can later be adapted. And there's an example coming up of the welcome sign up at the highway, something that could be done to it now just to kind of rejuvenate it a little bit, but not necessarily a permanent solution. And we can have the opportunity to adapt and to evolve the process later on. So that's kind of how we kind of approached it.
And, we did gather a lot of really good information from the community conversation on identity. I think it was really, really good, and it's still being pulled together. And probably once the OCP is in draft, that's when you move. But I think right now, we sort of I think then we need to show movement with the progress that we're. But that's not to say we can't pivot a bit as we move forward. So Dan, can you just advance the next slide?
Sure can.
So welcome signs, and so this is exactly what you're saying, Bertie. It announces that you've arrived, right? And it should be something that embraces what your community is. I actually really liked how you flip that. It's a warm community, like we kind of used the dual, and it's a meeting place, which we hear, but that we kind of have to park it. I know it seems really odd to park it, but we're just gonna get through the OCP and then probably pivot in that area. And that's something that I think on a July Monday, it might not be the best time to have that, but because I think there's a lot of people that would really like, the chamber will kind of be involved in the like a lot of people, business owners, even more so, like almost literally filling up everybody and getting them in the surrounding community. So, and yeah, I don't know, anyone else wanna? Yeah, just one.
I like the signs we had, the two languages. I agree that they were, both languages on one flat instead of separate. It would be better. Black and yellow works. But I have to disagree with Bernie in that I like the hots. I remember sitting in this room with, I can't remember the phrase, and Tourism Association probably I think a few years ago. And we was discussing then, do we really wanna be a hotspot? Well, technically, at that point, I don't think we realized it was non. Central was actually a little bit hotter than us, but since then, we have become a hotspot, and it's sort of like. It's maybe not the history you would prefer, but it is our history, and it's, I mean, I think everyone knows that it's hot.
That's why I hear what you're saying, and the hotspot was, it worked well for quite a while. But given our recent history, we want to step back. Because that is not a positive thing for our community. This, you know, I spent a lifetime in marketing. And product, you know, brand, we do this kind of, I really understand some of those things.
But it is a reality.
Well, it's a reality, but that a reality does not appeal to anybody. I mean, that's build a house here, if they think that what's gonna happen. Their house is gonna go up in flames, because the money that way. We have to be a positive. You have friendly, warm people here, and that's the reason you come, because you like interacting with people. You wanna go to the house and sit around and have a coffee and enjoy your chat. You don't wanna worry about whether your house is gonna burn down, okay? And just having 2 fires in 5 years is not a positive thing. And to try to capitalize on that brand is make it sense at all.
So, so I think what Dan was saying is that we need to work on that branding. We're not gonna make a decision today. Canada's hotspot is a tagline. So it's not that you probably could have both, you know what I mean, if that was the powers that be. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the welcome sign, because I think we all know what the current welcome sign is. And I think we just did kind of talk about how does that embrace your community. This main sign, and Diane I've gone back and forth, and then Tanya took control and as she can. And we really just wanted this, we wanted the village, just like the chamber did, we wanted to show that it's open for business. And I was very relieved to see that your sign survived. So next one is just a really basic. Right now, the crews are upgrading it. It's gonna come, so as I said, we're working toward an interim sign, welcome sign to replace hotspot railway sign at Flag Park. Yeah, so if you really think this is horrible, you should say there's an interim sign until we do that branding exercise. Bernie, that you talked about. So this is just to show that, wow, it's open for business. You should go, there's something happening in it. That's cool, yeah.
I really heard the feedback that the sign that's up there is, you know, the paint's all peeling off, it's looking pretty tired, and, you know, it needed a refresh. And we'd spoken with council about this quite a while ago now. Just that, you know, it was kind of time to do it. And then when we looked down at the sign that the chamber had just recently invested in, we thought, okay, well, let's try to do something that kind of matches what's already been done, so it looks.
So for those that don't know, the chamber put up the sign to the south of Lytton as you're coming in, just right by the highways building. Yeah.
Big welcome to Lytton.
Like you wanna jump in?
One thing about signs is, it's pretty dark and, just to make sure that people are going to be able to see it. So are we back this, the light, maybe reflective or something when you're driving at night.
Put a light on her.
Yeah, light or, right? But going back to the, should we keep our traditional names? I think that's going to be a really important one. Because, and it goes along with branding too. Are we going to, you know, be known as a community working together, because you know, place it, we've got surrounded by all the reserves, right? We all speak the same language. And so to let the people know that, you know, we are working together. Working to be. And I understand and I realize that it's really hard language to speak, I have problems speaking my own language. And, I mean, if we were creative, it's so much better. Anyway, I say it's the most, increased, the most, romantic native language out there. It's Spanish. And so, you know, having something on the website of how to speak those names, I think would really help. Because I definitely appreciate, you know, sitting in, the hospital looking at, okay, oh, Shaggy has some, sit in the doctor's office there waiting and, you know, just practicing that, how to do stuff. And yeah, so I think that we should keep on both of those.
Yes, Lauren?
Just a small point, which is a little preliminary. If I made the signs in those colors, I would switch the yellow signs to these colors too. So we have more continuity between this is Lytton and then each of the streets of Lytton. And it'd be just as effective probably if the white is the predominant color or the reflective color. But I tie that together. And I definitely wouldn't make yellow signs for those. And going the other way would be helpful.
So can I ask clarification? So I heard you say temporary or interim or something, this sign
Yes,
until sort of the branding or the whatever.
all of
process
this
to find out
exercise is
what it
finished.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this could be for the next, say, year or so, right? These are just little panels that we've ordered that they'll just put on top of what's there.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll fasten them on top.
We've always used the Great Forks. Of the two rivers, with the rivers joining the graphics. Why are we now moving to the mountains rather than continue on with that theme that has been here for 100 years? Wouldn't that make more sense? We somehow incorporated that Great Forks here, that's what the indigenous name means and everything, so I'd rather see that, continue on with that.
Just practically, it would be hard to do that though. because the
I
closest
think
you
a
can
graphic
do
artist,
is.
graphic artist.
Yeah, that's the 2 years. Everyone has, why the 40 groups, everyone has to lay them.
On that, to me, when I saw your picture, I thought, oh, that's just an example, when you said you're actually considering using it, I'm like, oh, I hope not. Simply the rivers, not the mountains, yes, they're not, they're here, but we're more about the rivers than.
Well, no, for yours.
Yeah, we are.
Always happen.
Okay. Next slide. Okay, so wayfinding, I'm not gonna repeat that purpose, the users, but it's to get around, and in a large part, it would be visitors. Kind of drawing on what you said, Lorna, consistent design, so that if you're looking for the pool one day and you're looking for visitor information, you're looking for the same. Again, do you draw on your historical cultural pictures? And who should you gauge? And actually, I should step back a bit on all of these. Who should we be engaging with on these? And we talked about the museum, we've talked about the chambers, the surrounding communities. Who else should be engaged other than obviously the residents? Businesses should be chamber, but.
So have these signs already been ordered or anything?
No, remember when I said there's been no decisions made about anything?
Oh, good, okay.
This is gathering information, ideas, people's
And
thoughts.
just so you know, those are just examples of what a wayfinding sign could look like. They're not what we're doing, and typically you would. Once you sort of done your branding, you then would kind of say, okay, we want everything to be blue, or we want everything to have the two rivers, and then that would progress. And we could have language.
Does the digital component factor into the kind of funding that you have now? Because there is a huge trend worldwide for reduced physical signage and increase signage through apps and whatnot, and our whole community could be and should be linked through apps. So when you arrive in Lytton, you can find out everything you want and need to know on your phone. And I used this example before, and the kid from Lorna, you know, there's about an 85 or 90-year-old couple came in, and so Lorna asked him, where did you hear from my museum? He takes out his phone, goes to television buttons and said, you. Just like that's how we heard. And so I think we don't want to be caught off guard on this, on the trend, and it changes our thinking about that sign that you've got up there. How many of those do we really need?
Yeah.
And what's the benefit of those signs? And maybe we should be focusing on having apps that work for everybody.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
when we get, no, really good comment.
I'll take my sign down, absolutely.
You can,
Yeah, I'll be down in. Well,
That's
I need your help.
feedback that you're looking for, right?
But we did have a good conversation today about how the QR code. So and you're right, what we might want to do is just talk about, is there anything on the list that needs to be identified for wayfinding? And then also, you know, you could end up somewhere, I'm trying to think of something, and you just click it on, like we talked about your memorial benches, and you click on, or you could click on sort of the history and what was here before. So almost a walking tour. And so yes, definitely. And you don't need to be super busy. And actually, one of the things I wanted to say early on is the worst thing you could do is put too many signs up. It's yeah. So when you're thinking of wayfinding, what does everybody think? Where should wayfinding go?
What are the things that need to be
I
identified?
think about Dwyer Park and living right there, I can't believe the number of tourists that stop there to get their picture of the rivers, right? And it makes me wonder how many are driving through and they see that little sign that says, viewpoints out, right? I would guess that, so any of our viewpoints, I would think.
Yeah.
Potentially could be.
I think we should just look at what do tourists want to see when they come. A lot of them just, from my perspective, that kind of see them, they're Googling most things, what to do with it. Our site for that is pretty big right now. People are on some of those things like, you don't have. It's very simple.
Sure.
If we took the key places that people want to see, from my perspective right now, the main one is the two rivers, you know. So that's probably why the Dwyer's so big. So if we combine that, say, the Dwyer Park and see two great rivers, that's a good sign. Dwyer Park may not bring them on their own, but maybe the two of them. Then people ask me about going to the Hobo Hollow, last me today, where's Hobo Hollow? They knew all about it, but they didn't know where it was. Across the red bridge. So that's, you know, the things that people actually want to see is the signs. If I'm not, right, it's okay, but I believe the signs that we put up for this is for tourists. We all know where these things are. It's tourists. We have to think, what do tourists need to see now? Maybe tourists need to see memorial, more consideration of what's going on with indigenous people. But that's the kind of thing that we should gear our signs to. For services, you know, obviously everybody wants a hospital sign, emergency sign, RCMP sign. But maybe we don't need to put out extra signs like for, I don't know, just to say for banks or things that people use, but tourists will ask somebody, we're a small town. They'll find those, but the sign should, they should be directed to what do we want tourists to come to see? And that will eliminate a whole pile of the other ones.
Yeah. In the Chinese History Museum.
Or I can have my own sign.
Well, or museums generally,
Well,
though, that's
yeah,
that's
museums.
something that people are interested in. Visitors are interested in museums.
Yeah.
To make one more point about the historical ones. Excuse me, stop eating. We talked a lot of time ago, I brought this up before.
for historical things to convince property owners that somebody could develop a little photo or little sign of what needs to be on their property. So I have, studied as my museum, I have a little photo of the original temple out on the street with a really brief description. That's part of a walking trail, but that's also giving us a history. So maybe where the Catholic Church was, you can have on the sidewalk, on your sidewalk, little sign that said on this site from blah, blah, there's a Catholic church. Or the cemetery that's been destroyed, the whatever street that is. You know, that's something there, and explain how it was destroyed, but those are things people be interested, but it could be a little picture describing our history as opposed to the ground of the hotel. We got a new hotel, picture of the beautiful thing that used to be there. So, I think.
But we could also, but we say this nice little. Now, John, you've got this wonderful white huge box out in front of your place these days, and right? And now something like, I don't even know what it is, but it's there, and I thought, gee, that'd be nice if there was a sign on that. And actually, your place, I don't know what, before Dr. Edwards used to live there, there must be some history to your little corner there.
The only thing was that
What?
remember that long pub in Houston?
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. Whatever you've done, that's amazing.
I really like Lorna's idea, and I don't know if that's interpretive signage or wayfinding, but, when I was in Kamloops last year, walking down Seymour Street, there was this big old building. And I took a photo of a sign that was on it, and it talked about how it was a theater in the 1920s. Like, it had a photo of what it used to be, and then underneath was just a little write-up of the history of it. And I actually took a picture of it, because I thought that was really cool. I kind of envisioned something like that.
Yeah.
For Lytton, that's
All of you could just go to Ashcroft, they have beautiful signs on some of the old houses, I don't think we could afford them as beautiful as they are, they got some grant years and years ago. And I mean, they're a really nice design and everything, so same thing, picture, description of what was there, or what this house was, but of course, we don't have the houses now yet, of the photos, so what was there?
Well, that's where the QR codes will come in. You know, it's QR codes on it and there's history information. Yeah.
I think it's important, you know, to tell our story. They've obviously heard about the devastation of Lytton. If they happen to land here, then they're gonna wanna see some of that story, whether there was a memorial, just recognizing the two folks that lost their lives and everybody that lost their livelihoods, and you know, talking about the resilience and how we've been able to get back on our feet. Just tell a little bit of that journey, so like even, you know, my daughter has kids, and you can visually see, read that story. On the end board.
And that would be something the museum could work to, or maybe a group of local people to work on that. You know, I know, because I'm an outsider, a lot of people ask me, you know, why would you rebuild? And I'm like, oh, don't get me started. Like, I don't even want to start with them. Like, why wouldn't you rebuild? Like, so, but I think that's why it's important to tell the story. Exactly what you're saying, Bernie, is this was a community. This community is still here. They're kind of all over the place, and people are coming back, but it's a warm community. It's a small town. It's a beautiful spot. It's got incredible history. Yeah.
You know, our folks, you know, we've been here since the time memorial, and the evacuation time. That comes down to the language and identity. People don't have identity without the language. Having instilled in that language in whichever way we can, right? We carry it forward and we recognize, you know, the whole where we come from. So we're down probably knows the stats, but I think prior to the fire, we only had about 180 something fluent language speakers with us, and then that number's dwindled down to 20. So, yeah, so it's very important for people to learn that to keep our identity alive. And what's out of us?
I just had an inquiry, some confusion, somebody on who's tuned in asked, have those signs been ordered or not? The understanding was somebody online that they hadn't already been ordered. And there's some serious questions about the colors and this kind of thing, of course. So had they been ordered?
Temporary. Temporary signs or all signs?
Well, temporary signs were the ones that were on the screen, aren't they?
That's what you're talking about?
The sign, is this the one you're asking about?
Yeah. Are those been ordered?
No,
They have not, so those are so no signs have been ordered at this point.
there's been a sign ordered for our offices south of town because it burned in the fire a couple weeks ago. So we've ordered a new sign for our office.
That is verified for the people who asked me about it.
Okay, so, anything else on wayfinding? Yeah, no?
Just somewhere, the history of Lytton is deep and complex and fascinating. And like there's layers upon layers and John had to leave, but one of the things he said was, you know, you could have languages from all different problems represented here because people have come and settled here from all different places in the world and carried their culture with them, like, you know, down the end of Grace Street, Mr. Montero and Montero, right, and all the different people from different countries, so. And just the evolution of the community to indigenous history, to whether we like it or not, colonialism, like all of it, that's our history, that's who we are here. And seeing that reflected and not, you know, ignored or looked away from, I would feel much more comfortable and honest representation of how we got to where we are today. We may not like everything that happens, but that doesn't mean you don't ever acknowledge it.
That's kind of a Canadian story of a small community, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the creations in the prairies, yeah.
And interpretive signage is a great way to share that information. That's a great way to do it, right?
Do you wanna switch to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it, and this one just have like, should have probably put the mini pictures in the earlier one, but yeah, so. Just what's important to the history and culture, that we should be interpreting.
So the interpretive signs tell a story.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Not memorial, but like Jason said, is there willingness or, you know, tell the story? You know, the whole idea of a property and based in land, that's, you know, then people kind of feel this like, you know, the Chinese museum is very, you feel like, okay, you can kind of picture how it sat, you know, lots of visuals of that, like you said, with where it was before, with that interpretation. And, you know, being on lit nights, you definitely, the love for the hotels, the stories that everybody tells is, and how grand, you know, at times, so.
So you're looking for some thoughts on different stories?
Yeah, well,
or-
we did talk a little bit about Chief Spitland Park, right,
Yeah.
and that's a story that needs to be told, and then, you know, you could do a geological one, which is always really interesting. To me, but maybe not to everybody.
And our museum group.
Mhm.
I
I was thinking about it the other day, I was thinking, when the museum's up and running, what are the stories we want to tell? And I guess that's sort of what this is, what are the stories we want to tell? And the immediate ones, so it's like pre-contact, post-contact, Gold Trail, bridges, Thompson Bridges, there's been a whole history about that, right? Different bridges, there could be signage on what the old bridges were, when these were all 60, across that one lane, Rickety Bridge, and before that, you have to sure whatever you want.
But I think of science, right? I think of there used to be kind of an interpretive sign, I guess you'd call it, pointing out the osprey nest and information all about the osprey down in the corner there, and a lot of people stop and read and found it fascinating. Yeah,
It was used this year.
was it? Okay, so those kind of things, I think of salmon, I think of, other wildlife around the area too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the dip netting alone, for someone that's from the coast, you never see that, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, it really is cool.
Something indicating that we have the retractable ferry too, so many people don't know anything about it, so. Yeah,
Yes.
we can go down there and.
Just do it.
As well as want anyone else in the line?
Oh, yeah, Hannah.
Well, many people zoom by the barrier and they're like, okay, where is this ferry? And you see people turn around and then come down slow. So they kind of, I know, you're, that's why it is.
More than it ever was before.
I don't know if people want to go there to see the sign here.
Yeah, okay, sure. That's important.
Yes.
Part of recent history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing you would want people to know where the water bridge is, so. Yeah. I don't think so. It's directing people there. They're just great. That's a local secret. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had many phone calls and maybe they're still telling people. Yeah.
The gold panning, a lot of people are gold panning today, but it's. Was a lot of people that came in.
Oh, yeah, I know even up at, the walk bridge, there was so much gold right below there because the Chinese were mining there. And they made their own natural sluice box, or sluice that run down, and they used the water from 5 Mile. I came down, I seen the ditch, I walked it and I saw it, it was all built with rocks, a ditch line. And when they ran their material, all their tailings went into the river, and I checked that, and I did find, evidence that they were there. And I walked, when it was the lowest part of the water, I walked upriver where you couldn't get when it's just normal. And I found a big, huge bar there, and that bar was from the Chinese, and it was stuck in the rock, and, you would never be able to go and get it any time, but other than that lowest point with the water, that was in 1 year, it was like, so there's evidence all along the river. And I was just telling Noni too that the other day I was down the river, and I know my spot, I don't have a metal bowl pan down there. And when I went to clean the trail and I cleaned up where I fished down there, there's a gold pan stuck under a rock, and I've never seen that there before.
Like under a big rock.
Under a big rock, I couldn't move the big rock,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
and it's still there.
Oh, wow.
I told her I'll take a picture of it, Just get off the music, but there is a lot of evidence on the river that I'm trying to get for finding all the way through here. Yeah, really good point about the gold panning, and, can we do something, the sign is sort of indicate the gold panning reserve, the area that they're permitted to go in, and some of the stipulations about view life in that area. Crossing private property. Public patio areas, that, thing was down here, and that was there. Cause I noticed, I even seen it on the river there, like if you go into somebody's, lane, they just start yelling at you. You gotta watch where you're going, you do. I think it's just got as far as the ferry, isn't it? On the other side of the.
Yeah, I've actually glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Out there now, so sign.
Make the sign up.
Yeah.
Well, no, and there is a reserve, so it's pretty easy, to do that.
We used to have signs in Nicholson before them showing exactly where to
Yeah.
get down there. Is it just so, but the dials are never down on the precinct. I always thought it was just below town.
Yeah.
At the top, so I didn't know where the cost is increasing.
Well, that's where it originally was designated from Thompson down to the bridge, where the takeout there. So, of course, it's we all know that the gold dredge sank right at the mouth of the Thompson River when you come down to go to the junction there. There still is evidence of the gold dredge there. And it's been there for over, well, over 100 years.
Very good picture.
Some very good pictures of it, and when you walk there, you can still see some of the metal and whatnot there. There's a lot of gold mining history.
That's a great.
Story, yeah, it is really good.
Yeah.
And it attracts people that want to.
There's a lot of things we can always do.
The trains, love them or hate them, both.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that, yeah,
Oh, there are.
there are a lot of trains, people that
A lot of people.
travel with train bridges.
Yeah, we were talking, Brian was just talking about how they try to find a spot where both trains and the river is in both, like there's a view, they wanna get that picture.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the other.
Oh, yeah, you would get it.
So the gold panning then, wasn't there a movie made, the Sunshine Boys or Rainbow Boys? And that we're thinking the gold panning and the. And they showed me going across the ferry and past that house in the '70s. And there was that little house for the band that had this, so where that little wooden one, that little lawyers.
Oh, yeah, that was certainly.
This house, a little.
Yeah,
Tony Logan's house.
Tony Logan's house.
yeah.
Oh, I got that on.
So maybe
There's-
Hollywood, Hollywood,
Is it Hollywood?
well, because there's a number of movies made starting with the silent movie.
Really? What's the silent one?
Yeah, 1920s, The
Yeah.
Winds of Chance.
So they just have
It's on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Cause you know, Britannia Beach, they've had so many movies filmed there that they have done, and it's attraction, like.
Right.
people filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next one is, commemorative signs. And, Jason, you started a little bit about that. You know, fire, you have some already at Odor Park, you have a few.
There's another one that will be coming into Chief Stedman too.
Oh, what's that?
It's about plastic.
Oh.
It's a provincial, one of those green provincial signs.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's going to be one of the ones that's gonna go over here. So the interpretive signs in the park are, there's the church, the village and the Calvin. They're all contributing their stories so that gets told, but that is also going to get out.
oh, great.
Cause that was presented before the fire and there wasn't a place to put it and now. This is gonna be a song, right now,
Okay.
right now it's at the Crowd Council.
Okay.
And it's big and heavy.
Hmm.
But,
Exactly.
oh, there's a way, apparently.
Okay, what's
Yeah,
that?
the interpretive panels are going on this Kirby cement. That's what their intention was there.
So that people can walk along and read them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and though they never really lost any time.
That is great.
Yeah, it's still, I think the intention is you can see over them and it's not gonna interrupt you.
People love, interpretive signs.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So what do you think? What else about signs?
I know, I was thinking that earlier today.
Just want to sing louder, the people online.
Oh, I can't say.
Mhm.
Sign, everywhere, sign.
I don't know if there's any chat comments, just see, any questions or comments. We probably, we have also thought about maybe just doing a really quick little survey for people too, of what's important. Just get more input. But this again is like, as Diane says, like they have the money and they wanna know that we haven't just ignored them and that we're doing a process, so it's small steps, the big steps, but I'm not the person to do the branding exercise. It's there, you bring in people that's what they do.
And as we build those signs like for hospital and RCMP, those are all highway signs that they'll just establish once we request it, right?
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
yeah, and that's what people are looking for, is that blue highway sign for the hospital or whatever, right?
And that's because Main Street is a highway. And
Yeah.
so then Minister of Highways should provide those, is that?
Mhm. Yeah,
correct?
that's right, yeah.
Okay,
And we've also contacted Ministry of Transportation about our highway sign up on the highway, you know, when you're approaching a community and it says, you know, Village of Ashcroft 6, and then it has all the amenities.
Yeah.
So we've been having conversations with them about getting one of those for Lytton on all three sides. Just so that now people, you know, as they're approaching, know that there are things here. We could, you know, put the gas station, museum, you know, those kinds of things, so people know there's stuff down here, down off the highway. So
Yeah, it's fine.
that's underway.
A gas station, there, and so a gas station, I was, we gotta go down the hill.
it's not that for you.
You stop there and then they're, oh no, it's, yeah. Yeah.
So I think the one you're describing then will direct people to go down the hill.
Well, this one is actually further out
Oh,
of the
okay.
community. It just it lets you know, and most of them it looks like are about 5 or 6 kilometers out. And so it'll say, you know, Village of Lytton 6 kilometers, and then it will list the things that are here.
Yeah.
And then when you get here, you'll see our sign that says, "Welcome to Lytton."
Go down the hill, yeah.
Go down, yeah, so it's just.
I love it. For commemorative signs, I would really like to just jump on what Jason said earlier. That we may have an obligation here and an opportunity to do more about. Thinking about and deciding what that would look like we did have kind of a major event happen here, and then we should do something to acknowledge that and find a way to do it in a respectful and appreciative way, right? So I think it takes a little time and thought, but that it is something that I would like to see us do without too many years going by. Right? Just I heard what you were saying, Jason, I think it's important.
And I mean, again, looking like I did just pull up Paradise, and it's a beautiful piece of art, like, I can't really see it, but, it's beautiful, and then I did like the wildlife and the pets. Yes, the little one, and then everybody put their little stones. Another thing that we did talk about, and I touched on a little bit with that Pemberton sign, is did you want a notice sign or a bulletin board or all those things of being really aware about community events? So that was something else. So the Pocket Park, we are looking at doing a bulletin board there that's matching the shade structure and everything. It would be durable.
I'm always in a bulletin board, we're kind of stick stuff on, like, we set up on their little pop cooler. And the post office is just the small little board.
Yeah, so this one will be beefy,
Yeah.
and we're hoping because people congregate there and the village offices will be there and people start walking because there's hopefully gonna be the coffee shop and the bank and.
Well, and we have a requirement to do a bunch
Faster.
of public notices, so we'll put ours there.
Yeah.
It'll just be. Yeah.
And then I think the banner, we talked, now Public Works, of course, it will go along Forest so that it doesn't get torn apart by the wind. So it's the other direction. So.
Before everybody has cell phones, our bulletin boards serve a huge purpose.
I know.
Huge.
Yeah.
I remember running around each bulletin board.
We didn't have a meeting town. We stopped to be, it's still are
Outside.
On your phone and then we did save it.
I don't know.
See.
So making any questions or comments from?
No,
the
it's not
virtual
on the
world?
chat.
Yes, very good.
Okay, so I was just thinking, remember when we used to go to the shop, Kenny's store, and in front of his store, he had a map of the village. And it had all the businesses that were in downtown Boulder. And what they did in the community, so what if we had something like, with the businesses that we had in the community, that have timelines with them, and the ones that we did with coming back, just kind of honoring them. And recognizing them for being in the community and being part of the community for 40 years plus, you know?
Yeah.
We've had so many amazing businesses come through and support us in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's just something that honors them.
Yeah,
Thank
Jade Springs and then Boulder, please.
Yeah.
Brady, what is it, whatever,
Always what's his name?
Rested, I don't know. Van Winkle, who's that?
Any really great like business signs like that were just unique and interesting and.
Great. We're there. You're saying, asking me, we're there.
Yeah, like you guys just said the rest in and.
Yeah, they were all unique.
The Stampede.
So, yeah.
Danny's.
And don't forget Gary's.
Danny's. Oh, my goodness.
On for candles.
Yeah, copycat too.
Bakery, yeah, and then the bakery.
Oh, the hotel and then the bar and then the. No, I thought to come on that late.
So any other, I wanna keep you.
Yeah, just to get any notes, I think that there's real opportunities to put in every public space, whether it's a park or the restrooms are, or that it to educate people as they come to the community, whatever the content is. And we all take stuff for granted. It's funny because we're working at Jade Springs prior to the fire. And we have people from the First Nation come through there because we set up COVID trailers there. And like, we lived here our whole life, never been down. What? Serious? We had that all.
Yeah, it took a while, nobody knew Kenny's little campsite down here. Yeah. This is kind of getting, right?
Good place to party, you know.
I that's how just a little pub, high up there, I sat there and I party there. Yeah, it was a nice little.
Tourist, I know.
Sad to see.
Oh, it took 20 years for people to figure out the pool at Elsie.
Yeah.
Now they know. I see a lot of happy faces, a lot of people and not people.
So lovely lips, the dams there, little kids, no.
Back is, so it's like, it was cold.
It was a cold day, it wasn't cold.
Well, I'm still talking about some places that I haven't. In fact, yesterday, I've never been up to. That's.
A great big no trespassing sign.
It's true, you know, and I went back to it. And I was trying to figure out why I haven't explored Lytton. And we were never allowed to come into town when we were young. We didn't hang out in town. And then I started working when I was 12, so I went to school and then work.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Yeah. So I never think of.
Did you ever go to the drive-in?
Actually, Marilyn and Bert's mostly, and it was good because I never had to look over their heads because they were always way down in their seat. And I'd look over, what are you guys doing? Just watch the show.
I hope tell me to drive-in and the real customers, for girls in my class. When you get a date with the guy makes you ride the truck he's on.
Well, thank you guys so much. Looks like there's still lots of food. I'll just do the promo, particularly for the younger demographic that's here. There is a young adult survey online. That would be great. So I know most of us are probably pretty close to the 35, but how are we doing on that survey? Do you have
Yeah, I think we're just over 35 or 40 responses, so doing
Great.
yeah,
It's good.
yeah, there's been lots of engagement with this.
So we're gonna actually up marketing a bit more of it now because we didn't want to confuse people about this thing. Yeah.
I have an autistic son who's 19, had a little for him, I think, or.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't. do whatever, whatever.
Make sure you put his name for the prize.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
Well, anyone can fill it out, but we really are focusing on the young.
And targeting that group.
Yeah. Okay,
All right,
so
thanks, everyone.
get your breakfast or your dessert
And your lunch for tomorrow.
your lunch for tomorrow. Yes.
I thought that, is my brain box, about the colors of the signs. I know that, and I haven't really paid attention to what colors I can't see. But especially at night when it's raining and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I can't see those signs until I'm right there.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be way over there. Right?
It's an actually, usually sign companies will tell what the more, I think green, that's why green is so prevalent. Is the often the road signs.
With the white letters.
Yeah, with the white
right?
letters.
And
That's-
unfortunately, I've never looked at these signs at night, the yellow and black. To see if I could see them.
We were talking that apparently, we think.
We
they're
were
not
told today that the
reflective,
yellow is reflective, but
But
I'm
not
not
black.
100% sure about that.
So we're gonna stay up late.
Yeah, we're gonna go later tonight.
Your neighborhood
Proof of it.
watch.
Proof of concept.
All the yellows, I think that some of those yellow signs have sort of a bead texture to them or whatever that makes it reflective, and a number of years ago, it became obvious, some of them are too bright, they actually night blind you a bit, it's
Oh.
too reflective.
Yeah.
And talking to the ministry people, even the ministry people said they're too bright, so not all yellow signs are created equal. Some of them are just really reflective in it, and it's hard, and you notice that.
I noticed that even on the Mile Hill going up there, when you come around the corner, like the signs, and you reflect right in your eye, it's too much. It's too much. And you get,
Like the beware of animals
yeah,
up by Tom Shane's school, too.
And I don't think it's our realizing it's the material they're using in the last 10 years or something.
yeah, it becomes too bright or too reflective, you can't really see what it says.
We already got the Loring Way comment, right, about the sign, the Loring Way.
You're the first one that's done it. But it came out of the OCP, just that it needs a new sign. I
Yeah,
like the handwritten.
so that be consistent with what's in town, because they're not right now, right, their signs are the same.
It's never got on board.
Somebody keeps stealing the Loring Way sign.
Really?
Twice they've done it. And so there's, probably get a lot of- So there's a big one up there.
To make them when they get
This twice is so over the years.
It all depends on what the sign says, it's west, down below, it's called Cookie sign. There was a Cookie Road,
Oh.
the sign kept going missing.
Yeah, I got it, yeah. Hey, well, thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you, Carolyn, and
So,
Diane and team for this, because this is just the start, right? It's just to sort of flush out some ideas and get thinking about it so that we can, hopefully we don't miss the opportunity with the grant that's available to be able to provide signs for the community down the road, or maybe tomorrow, but
Yes.
probably not tomorrow. Yeah.
So I feel a little bit kind of like the economic development strategy where we know we're going in that direction in the OCP, but you guys need to see it written, and yeah, that's where, what we'll see in the next.
Yeah, I don't know if you included them or not, and, for the. Commemorative signs or whatever, but museums got a lot of. Documented histories.
Yeah.
That can be pulled out if,
To help make that,
yeah. I know Ross or Carter one time for that walking tour.
Yeah.
I've actually had a couple of those little books walking.
I do,
tours
yeah.
and stuff you had with the church.
yes. I was given that by, we used to do like young ambassadors, and Serena, Brendan Michelle gave me her little package and everything that you did and interpretive. That was really program.
But all that dessert there. Oh, yeah.